Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sandwich Stories. We are on episode 2 of season 2, and today we have with us a different industry altogether, a racing champion of the Indian Racing League, Mr. Akhil Rabindra, who is also part of the Aston Martin Racing Academy for the last 4 years, and he took part in the GT4 as the only Asian driver. Welcome, Akhil.
Thank you, Dinesh, for having me. I know the sandwich is not full yet because movement is outside, but we will make it complete in the second half.
Surely. So, Akhil, I want to basically try to learn from you as to, I couldn't succeed in that to become a racing driver, but I'm happy that you could do it.
Yeah.
So, if someone who's, keen on becoming a racing driver, so basically want to bring this episode to those kind of people.
Sure.
So that they learn something and, they know what's the right pathway to go ahead.
Sure. So, see, I think all of us boys, when we were young, we always wanted to have nice cars, Hot Wheels, tracks. We should go to a crossword or something, get those showpiece cars. We always loved cars, and every time a nice car would go past, our heads would turn. I think it still happens with me even today. So that bug was always there, having to drive a nice car or playing with nice cars. Luckily, on my dad's side, they were all car people, car enthusiasts. So that's when they used to drive spiritedly back in the day, and whenever someone got a new car, we used to all drive it. So there was that car bug always in the family. I think that's where I got it from. So, but that's one thing, right? You can like cars, own cars, have cars, but racing is very different. So because none of my family members were from any sporting background or let alone racing, it was all very new to us. So when I started in 2010, the first thing you got to do in any racing is you got to start with your basics. That's basically your go-karting. That's your ABCDs, that's your fundamentals. You learn everything. You want to go to rallying, GT, Formula cars, prototypes, you start with your go-karting. If you're very young, you start with 4-stroke, which is rental go-karting. Once you come of age, you can go to 2-stroke, which is faster go-karting. So get trained, race in domestic championship, national championship, race internationally, because those fundamentals will be useful in any category, any track, anywhere, any car in the world. So yeah, the first thing is it comes with an extra cost. People always say it's very expensive. It is expensive because the say your materials, your whatever you need, your gear is so much higher than any other sport, right? A Formula One circuit is over 300 to 600 acres, right? There's no other, maybe a golf course is that big.
Yeah.
Then you got to put your tires, and you have in Formula One you have 1,200 people running, designing, manufacturing, running 2 cars. Then in the pits you have 50 people and maybe another 30 people in engineering. So, and you travel all around the world. These are performance parts. The wear is gone. And if you watch any Formula One race, the tires don't last beyond 40 kilometers, right? So it is costly because of these various reasons. So even in go-karting, it will be costly, and every year it goes up. So I think the FIA is definitely trying with the Indian Federation, which is the FMSCI, to really bring the cost down. So instead of making it exclusive, they're trying to make it inclusive. But we need scale in India for that. Right now, it's a bunch of people racing. We definitely need more people to come, and all the costs come down.
Okay. So when you say go-kart, right?
Yeah.
So what is the right age for someone to begin with?
So that's very tricky, right? You can start when you're 2, 3, 4. That's what most Formula One drivers start at. So it's hard to tell because as an Indian in India, I think very few parents. I think when we were growing up, I think I'll be very lucky. They won't push you to sport as a career. They'll push you to sport as a pastime.
Yeah.
Some holidays come or end of class, go and play something for 3 months, and you're occupied for half the day because otherwise you're going to school. So it's still not pushed by parents because the certainty is not there, right? You study, get a degree, get a job, whatever field, inevitably you get a job and your life will go on, right? In sport, right, the shelf life is very low.
Yeah.
second, there is a big if you'll make it.
Hmm.
And then once you make it, there's a sure, say 5, 10, 15 year window, and then life is different, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, so when I was there, my parents were very supportive. I also, like any other kid, played multiple sports during my summer holidays, and this sport stuck. Um, like anything, you need practice, right? But at the practice comes at a cost. Even today, most of our Indian drivers, if they're competing abroad or in India, they're on limited practice.
Hmm.
So today with technology, you can use a simulator, which will help you learn a track, learn competition, and then you're going like 70-80% prepared before even getting into the track because the tracks are laser scanned and the same car engine is fully calibrated.
Hmm.
So it's very one to one.
Okay.
So coming to go-karting, yes, you can start young. Um, I think it just needs that dedication where you're training, you're going and practicing every day. Because time in the car, like any sport, will always yield later.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can start. You can I think officially race when you're like 6, or you can practice before that.
So at what age did you decide that I want to become a race car driver?
So it was a bit weird, right? Because I started very late. Started when I was 13, 14.
Okay.
And I was good, but what is good? I was with rental go karting. I mean, you guys also. I was like faster than everyone. But is that really a metric, right? So like me being a dentist, like you'll obviously be better than me.
Yeah.
So I used to be very good with recreational go karting and went to professional. It so happened I picked it up fast because the speeds are much higher. And once I knew like okay that bug is there or that initial talent is there where I'm not scared or I'm not able to. I came up to like we call the lap time was I came up to like a within a ballpark very quickly. Then it's refining because it's a new car, a new vehicle.
Okay.
So that's when we're like okay your talent is there. Now it's hard work and commitment. So yeah, I think when I first started go karting in the professional two stroke, I think we knew from like the first camp I did that I was not far off.
Okay. So where did you do your training for the go kart and everything?
So I started my training. I did my one training in Coimbatore with Motorsport,
Okay.
and then most of my other training I used to go to Kolhapur.
Okay.
Because I used to race with a team called Motorsport Racing,
Hmm.
and they had their own private track and their go karts. So we used to go, Saturday morning. It was my father, me, and my driver, and we wake up, go at 5, reach there by 11, practice the full day. Sunday, practice the full day, leave at 5, come back like at 1, 2. My dad used to go to the office and I used to go to school. So that's the only way because you needed the same go kart, you needed a race track, and you need your mechanics to run. So there was nothing else in the vicinity. But they were training programs, not very often. Here, at least because they owned it, you could go whenever.
Okay.
So that's when I used to go very often to Kolhapur to train. And yeah, that was the hard work, right? Most people at that age, 8th standard, 9th standard, are going with their friends out, or if you're studious, you're going to tuition classes. I was going to Kolhapur and come back.
So how much did it cost, like every training session?
So when I started, obviously the numbers are far low. Today, it's anywhere between like 20,000 rupees to 40,000 rupees over a 2-day training program.
Okay.
That's when that's when you get to drive over 2 days with proper instructors, proper racing drivers, and they'll bring you up to speed. But then you have to buy your gear, your shoes, suit, helmet, all the other stuff, which all adds up. So yeah, it's go karting. It's a steep curve when you go to it's anything. Everything is doubling after that.
Okay. So which was the first official race competition that you took part in?
So the first race competition I actually took part in was what can I remember? It was a national level championship. It was the first time they introduced a rookie championship.
Okay.
So basically, the criteria was who has not raced in national championships, but has done some recreational races. So that was my first year. I came second in that championship. We raced in Kolhapur, we raced in Hyderabad, and we raced in Coimbatore, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
So I was racing with people like me who have practiced, done a little bit of races here and there, but not a full national championship. So that was good. I was very close with title contender, but lost it by a little bit.
Okay. Oh, that's good. But I mean, once you competed with these other drivers, right?
Yeah.
you had that confidence in you that okay, fine, I am actually good enough. So this is something which I can build upon. So did that help you in gaining some more recognition?
Yeah, the thing is, it's. I think I don't know what sports people were always insecure, right? You will always environment is always changing. The variables are always changing. Your preparation is always changing. So you could be fast, but then you need to learn how to overtake. You could learn how to overtake, but you are not fast. So because all and track to track, some tracks you learn faster, some tracks you learn slower. So then you throw the variable of rain, damp, and all that. So the first few years was all it's all learning, right? I want to call it insecurity, like driving. So when you've only been practicing in the dry and the rain comes, you know it's like you never practice in the rain, so you don't know how the car. So then that's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Then there's an in between, right? There's a damp when it's dry, it becomes damp, and there's wet when it's becoming dry. So all these in between high variable situations, you keep learning throughout the year. Even today, like you will always come across something where you're not done that in the past. That's when I think adaptability is needed.
Okay.
Whatever the situation, the car, what you have to do the best what the car can give you in the current situations. And there's always a risk versus reward, right? If you watch the last race in Sao Paulo, it was like, I mean, before the race itself, there were a few cars less, and before this, so it's how much risk you want to take, and I think depending on age and experience, that will always keep fluctuating.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what when you said about the rain part. No?
Yeah.
I was just recently watching the video of Max training in the rain as a child. So that basically, more or less fine-tuned his skills. In the rain.
I don't know if you know that story. Every time it rained, his dad used to take him to the racetrack and say, drive.
Yeah.
Drive, because then you need to learn. They're like, if it rained, wherever you are, go and practice. And now that's become his outlier. He's so good in the rain.
Yeah.
And the same with the British people, because it rains so much in the UK, that half their rounds are always wet. They're always used to driving in like damp or sketchy conditions.
So when you said British, I recollect that you did share the racetrack with few of the current racing drivers. So if you could mention a few names so that people know who they are.
The biggest name was when I raced in Formula 3 in 2016. Lando Norris was racing, but that time he was doing 3 championships or 4, and he focused on those championships where he did all those rounds. Whenever he had a gap, he came and did the championship I was in.
Okay.
So this is British F3, but yeah, I mean, like, see, that's practice, right? He was racing 25 weekends, 30 weekends back in a year. So he's like almost half the year he's in a car.
Yeah.
And when he's not racing, he's practicing.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was fast in all conditions.
Good. Now, in a country like India, so like you said, you touched upon the part where there's not much support, and parents are always you always want the kids to be either a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer, whatever. Very few are pushed towards the sports aspect. Now, how important is the sponsorship for individual in India at least?
Yeah, see, today it's the best time to be a sportsman now because the world has become so open. The world has become small. There's this digital media, which is 10, 15 years ago, was not as rampant as now. So everyone is looking to get brand value, engagement, and all that. So today, if you're a kid trying to come up, it's like anything, right? It's value proposition. Your family money or friends and family will take you to something, but end of the day, for the first initial few years, it's how you can be an asset to a brand. Maybe they want you to come and talk at their events. Maybe they want you to post 100 posts on Instagram. Maybe they want you to come and talk to their employees. Maybe they want you to do some fashion thing, which is a clothing thing. So each brand is unique. So because we learned this as in racing, right? So one day you'll be talking to like a lubricant brand, right? Oil or something.
Yeah.
One day you'll be talking to a clothing brand. One day it'll be a shoe brand. One day it'll be like a MNC, right?
Yeah.
Each one wants certain outcome, right? So you can't go with like a set framework of saying, hey, if you give me sponsorship, I'll give you this. Some people are like, hey, I don't care. I just want to bring my friends and come, and I'm more than happy. If they want to come, have a good time. Give me a big space on the car. I'll put my company name, and I'll use that in my marketing, in my presentations, and all that. So it's very different. So whoever you're pitching to, please do research about the company, their history, their CEO, and what is their brand message and how they spend money on branding. Right? You don't go to like a young brand who is say highly on Instagram and you give them saying, "I'll get you in a magazine" and all that. Right? That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Same thing in MNC, like maybe say 100 posts for them is not needed, but for them high values coming and talking to their employees with 1,000 people and saying all that's more motivating. So always fine tune it to what that company you're pitching to. And today, most people have a marketing spend. D2C also has a lot of marketing spend. So yeah, there's viewership on so many platforms now. Instagram probably is way bigger than Facebook. So there's enough ways people want attention and engagement.
Got it. Now, when we were all probably back in school, and I still remember that we were at your place trying to watch your race for the Etios, Toyota Etios racing. So how was that experience? I think that was your first the racing car race, not the go-kart kind of stuff. So how did that go, and how was it feeling?
So the Etios was very fun because karting is good, right? You can do but you as a racing driver, like I want to get into cars now. I want to drive something with faster, bigger, manual gearbox, whatever. So my pure excitement was like done. I'm done with that small thing. Getting into a car now, and and it's the same. It's a little bit different because in that Etios Championship it was a front wheel drive. Most racing cars are rear wheel drive. Went to a manual gearbox, and the weight. You're not driving 120 kgs. You're driving like a ton now. So the fundamentals are the same, but because of the weight and the tire and this and that, you change a few things. Where I think in the few practice sessions, I was trying to drive it like a car, which doesn't work, and then you gotta like bring it more to they call it a saloon car, where it's you work with the weight.
Okay.
But yeah, for me it was. I did 3 years of karting or 4 years of karting, and then finally I'm in a car, and it wasn't very fast, but the competition was very good because we call it a one make. Everyone has the same equipment. So you will never find a big performance gap between drivers. It is only talent.
Okay.
So there also I finished second.
Okay.
It was a tough second.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So after that, where did you move on to like?
So then I raced in Junior Formula in India.
Okay.
And then I raced most championships in India, and then I went to the UK to study. So there I did BRDC F4, which was like that time everyone was doing that.
Okay.
So I did that. I think I finished low double digit in the championship for 25 cars.
Okay.
And then I went to F3 in 2016. So at F3, it was getting very expensive back then, right? So it was a decision where we had to do F3, repeat F3, or go to the next championship, and the costs were very expensive. That's when we decided to shift to GT cars.
Okay.
GT cars is still expensive, but the advantage is you're sharing a car with a person, so you split the cost.
Okay.
And if it's a longer race, you split it with 3 or 4 people.
Got it. So how did Aston Martin reach out to you for that?
So basically, there was so 2017, I raced with McLaren. I was on their academy.
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, it was 2 different McLarens running it that time.
Okay.
The automotive was not running it. It was like an outsourced company.
Okay.
And then they had a fallout. So then, basically, they didn't take the old McLaren drivers into the new McLaren division.
Okay.
So I had a 2018 was a year where I drove BMW.
Okay.
And then 2019, Aston started an academy. So 19, 20, 21, 22, I was on their academy. So basically, there's an evaluation every year, basically on your fitness, your driving, your your interview skills, social media skills, and holistic on-track and off-track approach on if you are suitable to be on the academy, because you are representing a brand, then you are representing their thing. That the good and advantage was they would take one driver every year to become a junior driver. So unfortunately, I didn't become that junior driver, but I was very close 2-3 times. But there's more variables because they subsidize a lot of things for you during when you're on the academy. But again, you're competing with like 20 drivers, and then end of the day, my currency is results. So if I don't get top good results, you're not in the race, right? So everything, unfortunately, every year I had one or two bad races which brought my points down
Okay.
versus somebody else was higher in the points. So yeah, but it was good. We had the factory drivers who we learned a lot from. I think I've raced on at least 20-25 European tracks and about 4 tracks in the US, so I've learned a lot.
That's great. That's great. I mean, you said 4 years for the racing team. I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually a good number of
Yeah.
years wherein you're there with the team. That basically means you're good.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Now, coming to the Indian Racing League.
Yeah.
That's basically, I think, the third edition right now.
Yes.
So how has that helped us in the Indian market where racing is being slightly, focused more on?
So they've done a great job. They're running Indian Formula 4 and they're running the IRL car. So Indian Formula 4 is any boy, I think 15 upwards or 16 upwards who can participate. It is the most affordable Formula 4 championship in the world compared to UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, I think even in the US. So you're getting the same amount of driving, if not more, for a much more for a better price. And you also get FIA points. FIA points is now today, if you have to become an F1 driver, you need to have certain credits, or so to say, where you have to collect them from Formula 4 to Formula 2, then only you're eligible.
Okay.
So this championship even gives that.
Got it.
So making it affordable is already making it more inclusive. So that they've done a great job. The IRL is another great championship where they are making it like a league, like IPL, right? Where there are different cities and there's a team per city. And in our case, the way the league is run is you have 2 cars per team, 4 drivers, meaning two drivers share a car. You have an Indian international, which is me, Indian domestic, which is a domestic driver only racing India, international male, and a female.
Okay.
So there are 4 very good experience. So basically, it's exactly like IPL, right? You can have a guy who's never played cricket in his life and Dhoni in the same team, or you'll have someone who's played some level of domestic cricket and you'll have the best of your England team, right?
Yeah.
The same thing. So we have some great international drivers, both women and male. So it keeps it entertaining, keeps it, and I think the championship owner and league is made it inclusive in terms of women, male, female, all that. We're racing in the same championship.
So currently, how many 4 cities are conducting?
6 cities.
6 cities.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Chennai, Coimbatore, Delhi.
Sorry, for the races.
For the races.
Races, it is Chennai, Coimbatore, Chennai 2. We had 1 track and 1 street, Coimbatore. Yeah.
And you had the whole city shut down for the Hyderabad street race also.
Yeah, we had. I think there was a introductory run or inauguration, which was way before the race. As my teammate, a guy called Anandit and I think we're definitely in for Hyderabad at least. I know Hamilton drove a nice road.
Yeah.
So I think the second set of people to drive a Formula car on the streets of India. Actually, maybe third. I think Red Bull also was.
Red Bull also.
First in Hyderabad. Let's leave it there. Yeah.